Hi guys, I'm Shay and I'm back with another classic Draw With Me session, talking about some ways I've found for making creating easier and more enjoyable while talking about some paintings and drawings I made throughout this past week. The first piece I worked on was the print design for the month of August for my patrons. I continually fell back to this idea in my head of this fantasy party get ready with me scene based on the universe of my Y2K Witch comic, which you can read the rebooted intro for free over on my Patreon. I'll link it down below. So it's a scene of my main character Fiona and two of her good friends whose names will not be revealed yet, and that's definitely not because I haven't figured out their names yet. Anyways, this friend group is getting ready to go out to the club or a party, so they're doing their makeup, having a snack, or just like serving face as one does. I was initially very ambitious about this piece. Originally, I was planning on cramming 5 characters into the scene, but time and my current skill level made 3 seem a lot more doable. And that's something that I wanted to chat a little bit more about with this piece. The doability factor in art and not overwhelming myself constantly with too complex of projects or too high of expectations when I'm low on time, energy, or my skills and knowledge just aren't there yet. Time and energy have been a very precious resource for me these past couple weeks, and honestly, pretty much this whole year so far. Without getting too much into the details, I had a major habit shift of quitting caffeine this year and unlearning a lot of unhealthy working habits that really affected my overall ability to focus and maintain my energy levels. I am happy to report that I'm doing a lot better now, and I'm glad that I severely reduced my caffeine intake, but life is unpredictable and my partner and I now have a dog, which has been an entirely new energy hurdle, albeit much more enjoyable than caffeine withdrawals. And speak of the devil, oh my gosh, barking in the other room. His name is Merlin. He is a Whippet mix and he is a spotted ball of energy, and we love him so much. But our free time in the mornings and evenings have been a little strained with him. It's definitely worth it, but it's meant having to sacrifice hobbies, sleep, and even work time for myself since I'm the one that works at home. We love him so much, and we are definitely looking forward to the 9-month mark for him to be able to sleep a little bit longer so that we can sleep longer too. Because of these other life responsibilities and energy drains, I have to be a lot more gentler with myself about what I can manage with my art and creativity, and not beat myself up for not matching my past productivity levels, especially when those levels were inflated unhealthily by caffeine overconsumption. This mirror scene was a good balance piece for me, pushing myself to do a fuller scene than my past monthly prints, but limiting the number of characters that I initially planned. Indulging in my personal interests in Y2K aesthetics and my own story, but also trying to improve my posing and clothing exploration. I wouldn't say I completely matched what I had in mind for this piece, but it was ultimately fun to create, and that's what matters. A good balance between learning new skills and indulging in what I want to draw has been a recipe for success in enjoying the process while working towards my goals. This way of working has made me feel a lot more calm and sometimes even gives me energy to continue to create or complete other tasks in the day, which is great. Overall, this just makes the process of making art more approachable and enjoyable, and I believe learning thrives in a positive, fun environment, so the path to improvement should be relaxed and enjoyable as well. Another important factor that's been making creating easier for me this year is figuring out a better digital painting setup. So throughout this year, I've been intentionally drawing more digitally over traditionally to build up comfortability with the medium. I would say I was comfortable with drawing digitally at the beginning of this year, but still didn't really have it as a natural part of my routine yet. With my iPad, it was kind of a challenge to find a comfortable way to draw. I couldn't get a good angle with my iPad case, and even using my Huion tablet holder still felt inaccessible and too low, and I ended up having a lot of neck, back, and arm pain, and it really kept me from sketching more digitally and improving that aspect of my routine. I finally bought something that I've been wanting to get for literal years, and I even talked to my Discord server about it, but I finally invested in a Sketchboard Pro to hold my iPad as I draw at my desk, and it has made a world of a difference. Oh my goodness. I've been sketching so much more, and the pain has been basically non-existent. It's still good to stretch like every now and then to prevent an injury and like stand up and get the blood flowing, but this tablet stand has made drawing for longer periods of time actually doable and not debilitating on my hands for the rest of the week. Another great addition to my iPad setup has been finally getting a textured screen protector from Paperlike, the sponsor of this video. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but it's been 4 years since I got my iPad, and I had yet to get a good screen protector to both A, protect my screen, obviously, and B, make using my iPad more comfortable. I sometimes found it difficult to draw due to the glare, and I didn't always love the feeling of touching the glass of the iPad compared to the screen of my desktop tablet. Part of the reason why I didn't have a screen protector for so long was because I just didn't want to go through the painstaking process of applying one to my iPad and risk a ton of weird bubbles, but I was really surprised by how easy the application of the Paperlike screen protector was through watching their extremely helpful video tutorials, and they supply you with all of the proper wipes and cleaning supplies to make sure you get the best result possible. And for complete transparency, I did end up getting some small bubbles on the side, which honestly doesn't really bother me, but when you buy the Paperlike screen protector, it actually comes with 2 protectors to try the application again if you ever need to. I used the screen protector throughout the entire filming of this video, and with its premium paper feel and reduced glare, getting more comfortable with digital sketching again has been so much easier, and most importantly, so much more enjoyable. And with the screen protector's proprietary nanodots technology, there is the perfect amount of friction, but without eating away so quickly at your Apple Pencil, with nibs lasting 3 times longer than other paper textured screen protectors. Paperlike screen protectors support all current and recent iPad models, and they are available to ship to over 150 countries. So if you've been looking for a way to protect your iPad and get more comfortable with digital art and note-taking, whether as a hobbyist, student, or professional, I would highly recommend giving Paperlike screen protector a shot and checking them out in the link in the description down below. A big thank you to Paperlike for sponsoring this video. Now back to drawing. Moving on, this week I also worked a little bit more on my My Little Pony Dungeons & Dragons project. Very slowly over the course of this year, on the side of other projects, I've been redesigning each of the main 6 characters as D&D characters and kind of brainstorming this alternate universe and writing backstories for each of the characters and how they all fit together. Right now I am finalizing Rarity's design, and as you can see, I'm working on her portrait, and another thing that has been helping me a lot recently in a lot of my design projects and just overall daily drawing habit is truly allowing myself to use reference to make making art easier. And that just sounds so simple and so obvious, but once again, I just build up these entirely unrealistic expectations of knowing how to draw certain things or come up with clothing designs without inspiration or visual reference material to go off of, and it just makes the creation process so much more harder and honestly always ending with a worse result. Doing this makes me want to avoid creating because I know it's going to be hard in a bad way and not in a fun, challenging way. And I think this stems from me wanting to improve my imaginative drawing skills, but when you have no ideas or nothing to pull from to draw something accurately because you just haven't built up that visual library yet in your head, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And like I was talking about earlier in this video, coming into drawing sessions already feeling a little bit low on energy, especially in the mornings when I haven't fully woken up yet, it's just putting too much of an expectation, too much of a high expectation on myself to immediately think of an awesome idea to draw without any sort of launching pad to go off of. And when I face this like blank digital canvas every morning and feel like I have no ideas, I get frustrated when I could just scroll on Pinterest for like 2 minutes for a little bit and do a study of something that catches my eye. That's almost always how I spark creativity when I have no ideas or feeling a little bit lower energy. And this goes back to my first point of making the process not too hard for myself. Expecting myself to know how to draw something or come up with something completely new each day without reference or inspirational material is completely unrealistic. And even for a like professional artist, like you still need reference. That's just how it is. Unless you have like an amazing like visual memory, then maybe not. But to draw something new, you have to acquire that new visual material. Yeah, it's completely unrealistic and honestly a bit egotistical in a way, and overall just being too critical of myself, which kills all of the fun and motivation of creating. So I think starting smaller, allowing yourself to like gather some simple references and inspirations and seeing what you can draw from that and take it in your own way can definitely still be a challenge, but it's actually doable and most importantly, a lot more fun and makes you more likely to create, and overall just makes the process and habit of creating so much more easier. And that leads me into my next point. Let yourself draw the things that you like. I'm thinking about that one meme. I'll put it on screen now. But yeah, that's why you got into art, to draw things that you like and the things that make you smile and the things that make you excited about ideas and like self-expression and stuff like that. And I feel like ever since making art became a career for myself and more than just something I like doing and studied in school, it's difficult now to just let myself draw things that I like without worrying about how it will fit into a grander scheme of my career or a certain project or how it will look and be received on social media. Everything just gets too serious. And for sometimes a good reason, because financial stability is a serious issue for most of us artists, but also that stress makes being creative incredibly difficult. The doodle I'm working on in this section is something inspired by the film I Saw the TV Glow. I really love these fictional TV show characters from the film, and even though this sketch really didn't turn out how I wanted to, and I still would really love to make like an official piece inspired by this film because I loved it. It was amazing. I still had a lot of fun drawing it because I was interested in these characters, and through the process of drawing it, I was thinking more about these characters and imagining new things and just like feeling more connected with the process. And even if it didn't really turn out that great, I was like, man, that was still like a great mindfulness exercise and just like a great process, and I had a lot of fun. So to make creating sustainable, you have to make the process enjoyable. I feel like all of these tips kind of just lead to the same goal of just making the process more fun, which ultimately makes making art easier. That's like basically TLDR of this whole video. So that one person who's gonna like summarize this whole video in the comments, you could basically just write that, I guess. If art feels too hard and you find yourself stretching yourself like too thin all the time with drawing what you think others will like and continually losing motivation to draw altogether, stepping back, reflecting on how you're feeling and maybe taking a break, like analyze those feelings. Oh, why am I feeling this way? Maybe it's something else that's bothering you other than art, and kind of just like addressing that, and then come back to art and kind of just remember why you started drawing in the first place and remove a lot of as much pressure as you can and rewire that thought process of like having more positive encouragement in your brain rather than like your brain continually telling you that it's not good enough, it's not going to do well, like this piece isn't turning out how you want. Like you need to like encountering those thoughts and kind of rewiring your brain as you're drawing, like when you're drawing, and if you're noticing you're having a ton of negative thoughts, really kind of like be aware of that and see if you can redirect that in a more like constructive, positive space. Because if you kind of fix that like mental habit of being too negative and then it becomes something more positive and something more like of a growth mindset, I hope this makes sense, then you're gonna be more likely to draw because your brain isn't gonna punish you every single time you go to draw and like continue to bring up these like fears and anxieties. it's gonna like give you encouragement, and it's gonna be like, wow, this is really fun. Let's keep on doing this. I could fix this part of the piece, but I'm having a lot of fun and I'm gonna save that studying for a later session. Right now, I'm just having fun. I'd also recommend, like, this is classic advice, but like look at your favorite books, TV shows. Maybe you had like a growing list of fan art ideas for like less popular stories that you've kind of been neglecting because they aren't trendy. I think you should hop onto those ideas and do the things that are fun for you for like a couple of weeks or even a couple of months before branching out to different subject matter or playing into trends again, or trying to reach a certain standard with your art and improving. And I think balance is key to not burning out and losing your drive to create, and doing that commission or working on that challenging piece becomes so much more easier when you give yourself the space and the time to play and just have fun for you, and it just feeds back into your art, and it makes everything just so much more less of a struggle when your mental health is better, basically. Who would have thought? Good mental health equals more creativity. And this leads me to my last tip and how to stop making creation so hard. And I think that's to let go of it being your whole identity. If you place so much of your value as a person, and this is coming from experience, I've struggled with this a lot, but if you place so much of your value as a person on what you can create or what you can achieve, the really good pieces will take you really high, you'll feel really great, and then you'll fail one time and it will be a really, really low, and it'll make you want to give up on everything because it completely shatters your self of identity of being like a good artist or whatever. Your emotional regulation becomes dependent on what you're able to achieve with your work from day to day, and that can really damage your mental health and ultimately, once again, put too much pressure on your process to where everything becomes so much more harder because it's just so intense. And then it just becomes a cycle where you continue to have like poorer and poorer drawing sessions because that negativity does not inspire you to create, but it like bullies you into being anxious and depressed when you encounter your sketchbook or your iPad. In my opinion and personal experience, the times where I felt the most creative and when creating has felt the easiest to me is when I am drawing out of a place of love and like positive energy and encouragement. After I spend a peaceful weekend walking around town with my partner, catching up with a good friend, going to cozy cafes and doodling, finishing a great book, resting after a good workout, going for walks in the evening, playing with Merlin, or like trying the occasional new restaurant, that's when I start to feel like that energy come back and kind of refuels me for my next like art session. And I think really simple things like that bring so much color to my life and breathe so much more like wonder and positivity into my creativity. And that's just like living life. And art and creativity like still touches these parts of my life. Like, yeah, I'll bring my sketchbook when we go out on the town or go to a cafe or doodling on the couch. But it's okay if I don't do that. And it's not my entire identity. And that's been a hard lesson to learn throughout my early adulthood, when you get out of school and you're kind of just like figuring out how to like live life when you don't have a school schedule. It's a new thing, but it's not impossible to detach from those toxic self-imposed beliefs and standards for yourself. You can just be who you are right where you are and have value and meaning just through existing. And those are just some hopefully helpful starting points for you in making the process of creating easier. A lot of this is basically just rewiring your brain to not be so mean to yourself all the time and hold unrealistic expectations. And that's definitely a lot harder said than done. So I wish you all the best in wherever you are with your art, and I look forward to sharing more in the next video. And I also look forward to drawing more on my iPad. I think these past couple drawing sessions have been really fun, and I think the new drawing board along with the paper-like screen protector has truly upped my game and has made me so much more comfortable with drawing. So thank you again to Paperlike for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out the link in my description if you're interested. And all right, thank you for drawing with me. Make sure to get up and stretch, drink some water, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye guys. A huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my ability to make these videos, and an extra special thank you to my pastry chef and muffin mail tier members: Alani, Justine, Honey, Rebecca, Maria, Michael, N, Fishy, Toru, August, Kohak, Faye, Jess, Bowie, Hazel, Makia, I don't know if it's Makia or Makaya, Emily, Levin, Georgia, Spicy Rats, Ari, Uwuna, Leo, AJ, Dolly, M, Calcifer Sparks, Rachel, Gianna, Brokebat, Zoe, Yer, Sierra, Bakatine, Lynn, Pwep, Julio, Perpy, Lana, Zoe Sketches, Sammy Bear, Neve, Mara, Beetle Ghost, Jazz, Jellyfish Avenue, Jalapeno, Elasmogeist, Taylin, Shadora, The Oven is Frozen, Sunlion, Autumn Fern, Rippled Nickel, Zelly, Dreamy Murmely, Keisha, Jules, Be a Goldfish, On the Lamb, Bowie, Tailsy, Nat, Ash, Gabriella, and Shokia. Thank you guys so much.